Hey, Marie.
Okay.
So we're doing a reading for the full moon that's coming up.
We are full moon in Capricorn in June 29th or 30th, depending on where you are. And it's very exciting because Capricorn is, all the old structures, right? Government, financial systems, schools, but also the old structures within ourselves, our belief systems, and so on and so forth. And the full moon shines a light on that. So let's see what happens.
Let's have a look. So what could be useful for us to know for this full moon? Let's have a look what's coming out. Two cards. Ooh, oh my gosh, we got the World, two major arcanas,
Mm-hmm.
and the Wheel of Fortune.
The card for this year, as you've been mentioning, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, wow. So what do we need to know for this full moon? Well, it's funny because both of them are about cycles. So the
Hmm.
world is about cycles too, because it's the last of the whole major arcana, and then we go back to the beginning. So it's about endings and beginnings of cycles, and also the integration of everything that we've had.
Yeah.
And then the Wheel of Fortune is also a little bit talking about the things that are out of our control. So it's true that, there are in cycles, there's ups and downs and things that we can't really control. But it's all about, like, for example, I find that this card to me, it's always about going back to that center place so that you can feel more harmonious inside, regardless of what's happening outside.
Mm, beautiful.
So, yeah,
I
what I'm
think it,
getting from this, yeah, go ahead, sorry.
no, no, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I'm just, what I'm getting from this is, yeah, what do we need to know about this is maybe just about the integration of the cycles that we've been through and everything that we're learning. And to remember that as chaotic as it is, because we've been talking about this for the last couple of months when we've been meeting up, these
Yes.
times are very chaotic. There's a lot of ups and downs. There's a lot of things that feel out of our control.
Hmm.
But it's up to us too, just to, remember that, like, it's part of something bigger, because the world is also that bigger thing, that thing that's like more, and that like every cycle and everything that we go through there is a learning process there in the integration.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, I agree. And I think these are two very appropriate cards. And it's interesting that the world came up first, right? So it's kind of
Mm-hmm.
like the culmination, the full moon in Capricorn, where it's like the culmination of perhaps one era and moving into another era. And then the Wheel of Fortune shows up, which is, I feel like you have the cat on top, and then you have all
Mm-hmm.
the birds in the different colors. So it's sort of how do you choose your future? Which color
Mm-hmm.
do you choose in your life? And it's not necessarily that one is right and one is wrong, but there's a huge choice to be made, or there's a choice point where we can start to look at a different direction for our lives.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a
Mm-hmm.
different flavor, maybe
Yeah.
a different way of flying. Every bird has a new way of flying. Some birds are like flap their wings a lot. Some birds, like, they just cruise on the high up on the wind movements. So what do you want for your life going forward? Like, how high of an altitude do you want?
Yeah. This card, I love that. I love the fact of that choice too, because it does really feel like maybe it's like at that, like roulette or something
Roulette,
like,
yeah.
what are you, which, and this card is also associated with good luck,
Yeah.
about, like, luck turning, or like things kind of,
Hmm.
shifting.
Hmm.
And so I also think it's about trusting that too,
Yeah.
trusting that, like, again, we've mentioned that saying many, many times on our calls, but it's, life is happening for you.
Hmm.
And so just to trust that, and to trust your luck, trust that, the universe has your back, and that these things are good in the end.
Yeah.
Um,
And even
which
though
can't,
you feel like your life is going in a certain way, on a certain track, you can still kind of spin that wheel and watch it turn and see where it lands this go around. It's like
Mhm.
it's sort of never too late to start over. So even if you're, at a certain age group and you feel like, well, this is the course of my life now, it
Yeah.
doesn't have to be that way, right?
Yeah.
When we had our pre-talk, we talked about how things change continuously, how in one moment we might feel like, oh, this is going to be forever. And then 3 years later, we're like, no, nah, we're not, I'm done
Yeah.
with this. Like, let's move on, right? So this is such a beautiful moment to move on.
And I love what you just said because it goes completely with the meaning of the world because the world is exactly that. It's almost like, we basically our whole lives we keep going through cycles and then we get to the end and we're like, oh, okay, I've learned this and now and like the whole reason you keep going and then you go back and then you become a beginner again and you go through a whole different process and of course like you integrate things along the way so it doesn't always feel you know like you're starting completely over but there is that ability to just remember that nothing is constant. That's I
Right.
mean I think that's what we're getting here with this is that
Absolutely.
the both of these are about cycles and change and just the fact that like there's and if you can as hard as that can be sometimes but it is just like if you can surrender to that then it'll be a lot easier.
Totally.
If you keep trying to hold that wheel from going you're going to
Yeah.
waste so much
Takes a
energy.
lot of effort, I know. And as you were talking, something came up from the old world structure. In the corporate world, they talk about transferable skills, right? So, like project management is a transferable skill, communication, ability to work with other people, so on and so forth, right? So, like always trusting that you have those transferable skills, and
Mm,
your transferable skills are so much deeper than what the corporate world refers to. Your
yeah.
transferable skills are like the ability to connect to another person, the
Hmm.
ability to
Hmm.
feel and love, and the ability to just be in this world. Like that cat is sitting there and just being so content, right?
Yeah.
But now it's time to roll the dice again, to spin that
Hmm.
wheel and see what else can come up, and to not be afraid of that beautiful new potential.
Exactly. And when you were talking, something else came back to me, which is because it's and because about the transferable skills and trusting that, and also just trusting that, like, because I find myself included that the old world structure is always needing to find a point to something. So always needing to have something be purposeful
Yeah.
and like, okay, well, I did that. And I know that, like, for example, Steve Jobs mentioned that like you'll connect the dots of your life when you look backwards. It makes
Mhm.
sense later. But I've
Yeah.
been realizing recently that I'm looking back on my dots and I'm like, they still don't make sense. And then and, and I'm like, I still don't understand. And then I
Mhm.
came to this new conclusion,
Yeah.
and it rings bell with what you get, which is in a way, I even think that that is an old way of thinking, that everything needs to make sense and everything needs to be purposeful. And in a way, instead, they can just be dots, like the little
Exactly.
dots of flowers here. They
Yeah.
don't have a purpose apart from just being there and being beautiful in their self without trying to make them productive or useful or neat, like I don't know. I just realized that that was also an old
Yeah.
way of thinking, of trying to
Right.
make everything have sense.
Yeah.
So,
And I love how you say that it's not necessarily how one thing is wrong and one thing is right,
yeah.
but in that image, it's like a beautiful constellation of stars.
Yeah.
They're just there, they're just shining, they just have their consciousness, and they make sense without making sense. They
Because they're
don't
so
have to
beautiful.
produce, but they're
Yeah.
just there. They're shining.
Yeah.
Just like every human being. We're just
Yeah.
here. We're shining
Yeah.
our light. So
Yeah.
it doesn't always have to make sense,
No.
at least from the
Yeah.
logic point of view.
I agree.
Mm, nice.
What there should be our second question for this? Or maybe just a message of love to close this, because I feel like there's quite a lot from those two
Sure.
cards.
Yes, we can do that.
A
A
message of
message of
love.
love from the stars.
A message of love from the stars. Oh my gosh, wow. That's amazing. We got another major arcana. We got death,
Mm,
which is also about cycles, believe it or
yeah,
not.
yeah, yeah.
And we got the Ten of Swords.
Wow.
which is also the end of a cycle because it's the end. That is the Ten of Swords. Yeah. We
Hmm.
got the Ten of Swords, which is also the end of cycles. That's
Hmm.
so crazy.
Hmm.
Yeah,
And how
tens are the
the
end.
death card is a beautiful constellation in itself, right? It's sort of
Hmm.
surrounded by, it has the circle of life, it's contained within that, and then it has the stars. So it's a beautiful
Yeah.
message. And the Ten of Swords has a lot of stars in it as well.
And it definitely has that symbolism of the
Hmm.
cycles in
Mm.
all of these cards. I think
Wow.
what I'm getting from this is the message of love is that, it is, I mean, all this is very easy when we're talking about it and we're laughing and
Mm.
but it can feel very hard and challenging sometimes. I know that, sometimes like, I mean, it's like I love seeing the death card because I mean, yay, transformation. But,
Yeah.
when you're actually going through it, it can feel also like a death and like death is also does have a void. It
Mm.
comes with a void. It comes with a moment of not necessarily knowing. It comes with a moment of hibernation, like we think about, like let's say like winter.
Yeah.
And even if it's a cycle, there
Yeah.
is a death cycle, and it's sometimes hard to trust that. And so and that's what I'm getting with the Ten of Swords there, is because that's sometimes like a card where you just feel kind of stabbed in the back and kind of like depleted and a little
Yeah.
I think this is the message of love, is like trust it, but also be compassionate to yourself, because it doesn't mean, even if you understand it intellectually, it doesn't mean that it's going to be easy when you go
Right.
through it.
Exactly. I love that. It's very supportive cards also
Yeah.
because it's like, as you said, transformation can sound beautiful, but then when you actually experience it, it's a lot of hurtful, sharp swords through your very being, as well
Yeah.
as feeling like you're dying. And it's
Yeah.
not just feeling like a part of you is dying, it actually feels like all of you is dying. And
It
it's
is.
very, very difficult. So to me, it feels like the stars are messaging us that, trust that you're going to be okay in the void. Trust that
Yeah.
this death is going to feel fine and
Yeah.
that there is there is a time to be in pain and to be okay with it. Kind of as
Yeah.
what you were saying before, to allow
Let
that to
yourself,
be.
yeah, to allow it to be, and to trust that it will, that you'll get through this.
Yeah,
I agree with that. I like that as a message too. And
yeah.
maybe also this, what I'm getting here too, is to remember to go back, like we've all gone through many deaths already in cycles, and
Mm,
to, when you're maybe going through this moment and thinking, oh my gosh, but this one's so different and this one feels,
mhm.
even worse, to go back and to trust that you've been through this many times. And so
Yeah.
to kind of look back and remember that you have gone through and you've grown and changed and become something else, and
Mhm.
it's brought you to somewhere new.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
also, but this is the big one. This summer is the big summer of transformation. Then the energies are going to start to settle in a little bit, and 2027 is going to be even more kind of, how should I say, more slow moving. So to trust that this is the time that you are transforming, you're in it right now.
Oh, that's lovely. I hadn't heard that. I'm so
Mhm.
happy that you mentioned that.
Yeah,
That's really reassuring.
yeah,
Because I definitely feel it for myself these days. I know I'm in this death period.
yeah.
And so that's why like, it's funny. We can talk about it, we joke about it.
Mhm.
But sometimes
Mhm.
when I'm just alone with my
Yeah,
void,
yeah,
it's very challenging. And it's also because each death feels new.
yeah,
Even if we've gone through the cycles, and even
yeah.
if we've done it a million times, each one feels like it's a different cycle, and the void feels very challenging
Yes, it
and
does.
lonely, because it's not that I feel alone. I like being alone, but I feel very yeah, no, actually I feel alone in this, because it's every person is going through it differently.
Correct.
And
Yeah.
it's almost like I know things have changed to the point where I know that the old is out, but I don't have the new yet, and that's
Mhm.
when it's that void and the kind of challenge.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's
So I
it.
love the
Trusting.
reassurance
Yes.
that you were giving.
This is it. Big time.
All right. Well, oh my gosh,
Hmm.
so funny too that these actually look like full moons.
Yeah, they do. When you held them all up, it looked like 1001.
Oh my gosh, you're
Yeah.
right.
It's like there are two book frames and the circles in the
Yeah.
middle. Very
All right.
beautiful.
Well, that's a powerful full moon.
It sure is. Okay. Thank
Thank
you.
you so much, Marie.
Thank you. Take care.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.